This episode is sponsored by ODP Business Solutions, built to address all your facility needs.
Hello, and welcome everyone to the 2025 Clean Advocacy Summit. My name is John Nothdurft. I'm Director of Government Affairs for ISSA, and it's just so exciting to see how this event has grown over the last few years. This is really only the fourth event that we've hosted in person. The first one that we hosted in 2022. I think some of the people who have attended, I think almost all these, like Jim and Trisha, we could fit in basically a shoebox, and it's grown quite a bit since then, and it's really exciting to see. So I'm going to go through a little bit kind of about what to expect for the next, about 48 hours. But obviously, the growth of this event can only be done with a lot of great partners, including some of our supporting organizations, like the INDA, the Nonwovens Association. Really appreciate Wes and his team for all they do. IACRC, Robbie and his team, and Holly, they've done a great job in getting some of the people from the restoration industry here. International Franchise Association, Matt and his folks, they've been great partners on Capitol Hill and even in some state advocacy, and you'll hear a little bit about him. And then BSCI, of course, as well. So Jackson and Chris, and obviously their leadership has been really good in kind of, helping us lift our voice. Washington, D.C. is a big pond. Sometimes you can feel like you're a small fish. So without kind of having the collective voice of the overarching cleaning industry kind of rowing in the same direction, it is hard to make an impact. But with sort of these many groups coming together, I think you'll see that we've made a lot of improvement and a lot of impact over the last couple of years. Obviously, also want to thank our presenting sponsor for the second year in the second time in 2 years, Torque. They've been great partners, and you'll hear a little bit from them as well. So it's been great. We cannot do this without our sponsors. This is not a moneymaker for the association. This is something that we do. We try to keep our costs low so we can have everyone kind of be able to attend. Our other sponsors, Brady Plus, our platinum sponsor, our gold sponsors, Imperial Date and Route, and then all our silver sponsors. Once again, really cannot do this without all of their support. Many of these attended first and then saw value in it, and we are very much appreciative of them providing resources for us to put on this great event for all of you. With that, I wanted to also kind of celebrate. Yesterday was the end of International Cleaning Week 2025, something that we started at the association. When I was brought on board, I had this sort of idea, like, why don't we have a week for cleaning? I think the first year we did it, we had about 4 governors that proclaimed Cleaning Week. This year we were over 20 states, 20 governors proclaimed Cleaning Week. Many different cities like Cleveland, Houston, and as well as the U.S. House of Representatives. So hopefully we will hear from one of those resolution sponsors tomorrow. Bipartisan, so we had a Republican and Democrat. So yes, things can cross the aisle, including Cleaning Week, which was pretty cool to see. But Stacy Seiden, who many of you have interacted, this has kind of been what she's been really working on for the last 6 weeks, and it's a lot of work. But we also can't do it without you all. So what a great way to cap off International Cleaning Week than to bring, over 140 of our member companies and members to DC to hike the hill and talk to our members of Congress about the important issues that matter. It's imperative today, probably more than ever. And so we're going to get into a little bit of that. Just kind of some housekeeping, just so everyone knows. I know everyone's got the schedule, but we'll have, after this, our lunch speaking. We'll have an association roundtable, and then we have our advocacy training and congressional schedules. I know many of you hopefully all of you have received your Soapbox link. If you're part of that, if you're part of the End Period Poverty or INDA, you would have received other instructions for your meetings. But if you did not, please let us know. They will be here later to go through exactly how to conduct a meeting. And we'll do a little role playing. It'll be fun. And then obviously tonight, it's our big awards. Will be recognizing some advocates for the industry, as well as some of our supporters on Capitol Hill. So we're really excited about that. So we'll have a reception dinner to follow. So, kind of what are we doing here? Why are we all here? All of you probably have a different reason for showing up. And really, why does it matter, right? ISSA, we always say we're trying to create a legislative and regulatory environment that allows you, the industry, to flourish, right? It's not about any sort of one individual business. We're here to represent the interests of the full supply chain of the cleaning industry. We all went through the pandemic. We know how important it was making sure that the cleaning industry, from the supply chain to the end users, were all deemed essential. I mean, that took a lot of work and a lot of impact. We had sent over 10,000 messages to governors and state elected officials and members of Congress to ensure that the entire cleaning supply chain was deemed essential during that. There's many more examples of successes, but that was a big one. I also, one of the things I think ISSA, our superpower, something that, we work with a lot of great trade associations that work, maybe representing just manufacturing or one aspect of it. I think what's great about ISSA is we do represent the full supply chain. So I often say our superpower is that we're able to talk about how a law, a regulation impacts everyone from, getting a product to market, to distributing that product, to then those people who are actually using those products to clean our homes, hotels, hospitals, right? So we can tell that full story. And that's really what we're going to be trying to do this week, right? How little changes or big changes in policy can impact all of those. Just a quick overview for some of you who may be new to advocacy and ISSA. I always say ISSA has really got a three-legged stool. There's a fourth one which I can mention, but advocacy. So this is advocacy, right? We bring our members. We will train you on how to advocate on behalf of the industry, and as well as your own business, right? Whether it's at the city council, at the state legislature, or even here in Congress. So that's really something that we try to give you the tools to be able to be your own advocate. Lobbying. I'm a registered lobbyist. We'll have some of our DC lobbyists here. In between fly-ins and other events, we're still, we're going to Capitol Hill, or we're meeting with state lawmakers to continue to tell that story. But without that voice that we have in the room, the advocates, it's hard to really kind of connect the dots for a lot of elected officials, right? So we do that. That's proactive. And then regulatory compliance. I know we have Nisha back in the back of the room. She leads our regulatory issues. Yeah, she's been great. She's just almost exactly a year on the job. And that's something that, obviously in the absence of legislation, there's regulation, especially at the state level. So you continue to see more issues percolate up, whether it's trying to get your product to market through EPA or FDA registration, or at the state level dealing with, OSHA, HAZCOM, and those sort of things. So we definitely try to do that. And then the fourth leg of the stool, which I don't really talk about, is, our hope is to help you see around the curve, right? What's coming down? What are the trends that the association's seeing that could impact you? Maybe not next year, maybe not 3 years from now, but maybe 5 years from now. It's something that we saw with these extended producer responsibility laws, or even a few years ago with PFAS, right? So we try to make sure that we can help you kind of see around the corner of, hey, this is what we're hearing. We don't know if it's going to happen, but you should at least prepare for what could be coming. So I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge some of the successes we've had over the last 24 or 12 to 18 months, especially since we met. So we now have over 2,000 advocates for clean. These are people who have opted in to receive and be advocates. These are people who have taken an action. They've come to our event. So it's still a small slice of our 12,000 members that ISSA represents, but these are people who have said, I'm interested, we want to support what the association is doing. I mentioned International Cleaning Week. We've had a lot of different rules from the last administration get rescinded or caught up in court cases, many that we were either cited in or weighed in on, including the overtime rule. We'll talk a little bit about it, but this time last year, I was up here on stage with Bill Warnecki from BSCI and others talking about how we just learned that there was a bill to limit cleaning to 2,000 square foot per hour in California. We were very, very alarmed by that, obviously. We were able to push back and get that turned into a study committee. So we were successful in fighting back against those types of laws. And that was a huge, huge victory for us. It's not something we have to rest on our laurels, but it gives us a little bit more time to regroup and figure out how we can work on issues like that matter. Especially, I think, on the issues that we support as an association, we are hyper bipartisan, making sure that we're supporting issues that we can rally both sides of the aisle behind. That's critical, more today than ever. So just kind of highlighting some of that. The other two things I want to mention, we have a subgroup here that meets, I think this is the third or fourth year, on our end period poverty campaign, which is to ensure that menstrual care products are as available as paper towels, toilet paper, and hand soap in public restrooms, specifically in schools, but in other restrooms as well, and to eliminate the tampon tax. So we have about 20 advocates, half business, half nonprofits, who do a great job, and we've had a lot of success, once again, at the state level. Colorado, Nebraska, Pennsylvania all passed access bills that increased access in schools. South Carolina eliminated the tax on tampon the year before Texas. So once again, these are red, blue, purple states, right? These are issues that we can have a difference. And I mean, I'll highlight some of the groups like Days for Girl, Period Law, Period, Alliance for Period Supplies that'll be here later. There's many more. They've all done a great job, great partner with industry and others to really make things happen. So there's a lot of wins out there, right? No matter what you see on the news, there's a lot to thank and really be supportive of. So kind of big picture, these are kind of our top legislative issues. We'll get into some briefings a little bit later, so you will feel well qualified to talk about these. I did want to highlight the three below. So in our packet, there's one on tax reform. As you may or may not know, there's a huge reconciliation package focused on the extension of the Trump tax cuts. So everything's kind of in the mirror of what's going to happen with that big tax package. So we're obviously supportive of some of those lower taxes on businesses and individuals and some of the other things. I mentioned the end period poverty. I know we have also a group from INDA. I know they'll be talking about the WIPES Act, which passed the House of Representatives last year, hoping to get it through the Senate this year. Wes and his team has done a great job, so I know they're doing some issues on that as well. But, also, people often ask me, why be an advocate, right? This is the youngest advocate I can find right here. This is my child. He's now a year old, but this was a lot cuter picture. Now he's something else. Run around. But no matter what you see on TV, I always try to say it does make a difference, right? I hope you get that when you leave here, that you feel like you made a difference. Because it does. It helps us do our job as an association, as lobbyists do a better job. Your voice is unique. When you enter an office, talk about that uniqueness, right? We don't need you to be policy experts. I need you to talk about your business and your impact on that district. That's what makes a difference. That helps us tell that story. And if you don't tell your story, someone else will tell it for you. And that's just the facts of it. There's a lot of people who are going to be in the Capitol. You'll see people are going in and out of offices, and they will tell the story for you, right? You don't know who's telling the opposite side of what we're walking in and talking about. So it's important to make it unique. And lastly, this is going to be a little embarrassing. So that's me. Many moons ago, with a lot more hair. I've been doing this for a while. I think I was 21, fresh out of college. I was interning on Capitol Hill. Got the pleasure to go to the West Wing and meet with the press secretary and some other things. But I say that to say this is a long game, right? It's not always about today, right? It's about our kids. It's about our kids' kids. It's also about tomorrow, right? Unlike politics, which is a flash in the pan, right? Every 2 years, we have congressional ones. Every 4 years, we have presidential. Effective advocacy and policymaking is a long game. Tax reform that we're talking about extending, that's been talked about. The last big tax reform since that happened was 1984. We're seeing huge changes in policy. So, we don't know. I mean, we hope to God there's not going to be another pandemic, but we want to at least make sure that our issues are on the table so that we can be the first line of defense. How do we deal with this? How do we deal with the next crisis? We got to make sure that our issues are top of mind for those policymakers so that we can be effective. So once again, keep in mind, you may get a no today. 2 years, we're going to have a different Congress. You never know. You might get a yes tomorrow, but but votes do change, especially on a lot of the issues that we're talking about. Some of these big, high-profile, you turn on Fox News, MSNBC, CNN. Yeah, they might dig their feet in on some of these big issues. They might have ran their whole campaigns on it. But a lot of the issues that we're talking about, workforce development, business issues, these are ones that they can wrap their heads around. So I just want to make sure that you all understand that this is truly a long game. So I hope you all are ready. We have over 130 industry leaders from. We'll be meeting with members of Congress and their staff from 30 plus states. Over 150 congressional meetings. I'll have another picture kind of from the various years, but it gets bigger and better. We get more and more meetings, better meetings. Obviously, want you all to share your experiences on Capitol Hill. Tag ISSA. Use our hashtags. We'd really like it. We love to see the interaction. I think that really helps us get more people here for following years as well.